What's up, y'all, and welcome into the Jack Vita and Danni Boatwright Show.
What's up, Jack?
How we doing today, Danni?
Well, I have to apologize, okay? It sounds like a war zone here right now because I have roofers literally pulling my roof off today. So it's a little bit loud. This wasn't supposed to happen till next week, but because you understand being a Midwesterner, the weather situation we have, you got to work within those windows, right? So They're here, but fortunately, Ruby is like not barking at them now. So can't guarantee that she won't the entire time we talk, but for as of now, we're good.
Good. Starring Ruby Sue, Danny's
That's
pup,
right.
is our
Look
guest
at
today.
her. Look at this. Like, seriously, like the sweetest little thing in the whole world. Right
she's
here.
doing great. So today we're going to recap the third episode of Survivor 50. And if you guys, first of all, I would love for you guys to subscribe to this program. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, turn on those notifications. And then we'd also love to hear your comments. We're going to read some of the comments from last week at the end of this episode, and maybe we'll have some questions. We always like it when you submit some questions for our Survivor winner here, Danni, the expert, to answer and provide the guidebook to winning Survivor.
That's right. You know, even though it was in 2005. That's right. I bet we have a lot of comments from last week because we made some pretty bold statements on that podcast, Jack.
Yeah, and probably more to come today. So we're going to dive right into this. This episode is called "Did You Vote for a Swap?" Danni, did you vote for a swap?
I didn't vote for anything, Jack. I was out there competing in 99 to beat. So, although I'm all up for the swap, I like the chaos. I like the changing of the teams constantly. I think it's fun because then you get to see how well people adjust, and also gives people an opportunity who might be on the bottom to have their game completely turned upside down in a good way.
I'm anti-swap.
Why?
I didn't vote for it. I didn't vote for anything either, so I shouldn't be complaining. That's how it should go, right? If you vote, like if you don't vote, you don't get a say, right? That's how it should go, right?
Yeah.
No, but my thought is, I think from a television perspective, and I really enjoyed when the swaps were introduced when Survivor began, and it was in the third season in 2001. Survivor Africa was the first tribe swap. But the problem is they happen so frequently now, and I understand one of the things that you benefit from with a swap is that it's more of like a mixer. So you get to the merge, and then you've got a lot of people that know each other better, so it's not necessarily tribal lines. But I think from a television storytelling perspective, we spent like 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, we were starting to build up some stories of where people stand in these tribes, and now we throw it out the window. And now we start from scratch again. And I imagine we'll probably have another tribe swap in a few weeks too.
Yeah. And you know what? I understand that. I get that. Definitely. That's why it's fun, different seasons, right? Because one season you'll get more of that. And another season you'll get lots of tribe swaps. I like it because I feel like, one, you can't get too comfortable. Two, it shows who are the real gamers because they can adjust. And then in a season where you're bringing back up, former players, it has to keep them on their toes because you may have pre-gamed with someone and then now you're away from them or you're with them. I think it just keeps everything fresh in a season like that. And it makes it hopeful for someone who, like I said, may like a Joe. Joe benefits greatly from this tribe swap. So, that's kind of fun to watch. And then when you see a tribe that keeps going back to tribal council, I get bored with that. So a tribe swap's nice because then we're like, well, maybe, somebody else can go to tribal now and we can get, new content when it comes to tribal council.
I don't necessarily get bored with a tribe continuously going to tribal council, but I was getting bored of the orange tribe going to tribal council. So, hey, at least we did shake that part up.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you what. Last night, I was really worried about our girl Steph, and then the tribe cheated upon him. I was like, oh no, like Mike White's literally throwing her name out. I was like, oh no, here we go.
Well, what you were saying though, with these, I think it actually gives more power to the pregame alliances when you come into these swaps, because now you only have a day. We have 26 days. There are 24 people on the season. The game is moving so quickly and it's so accelerated. You're looking for any reason you can to vote people out. So in this case, obviously those three from David versus Goliath, no chance any of them turn on each other. I will say that right now. I would be shocked if any of them voted out each other. And clearly, Ozzy and Mike White had something going on before this. They knew each other. The bar that, I mean, we didn't know that, but it's funny because when Kim and I did our preseason, predictions and everything, we found out the cast, and you were going to do it with me, but you were in the UK filming another show. Kim and I said, Ozzy's the most likely person to try to cozy up to Mike White to get on White Lotus. So anyway, you're seeing a lot of that. So in those four right there, that's a majority in the tribe.
Right. And it would not be wise of them to not stick together right now. Right. Like, obviously that's the right thing to do, but they didn't know that was going to happen. Right. The tribe swap is luck of the buff draw, and it just happened to work out for them. Steph and Q, Colby, they were all so tight, and they had their strategy, and they had their alliance. So now you get to see how good of gamers they are, because then all of a sudden that's just switched upside down. And I think for me, that's fun to watch, unless it's somebody that you're really close to that it happens to. And then you're like, oh no, it worked out okay but I also, as you know, I'm a Q fan, and I love watching him play. So I hate that he's gone so early, because for me, he's just so entertaining. And also, like, why would I understand why they got rid of him, like we were just talking about, because how the numbers are and who's tight there. But like, you're gonna have a really hard time now at immunity challenges without him, because he's great.
So see, that's the thing with the tribe swaps, is I don't really think the immunity challenges matter that much. It's because you've got numbers on other tribes. You can protect those numbers. You can get rid of numbers that are not your own numbers. And they're probably going to shake up the tribes again in a few weeks. Yeah. So if you lose these challenges, all right, well, Stephenie's not a number for us. Q's not a number for us. We can just cut those two. If you're in that David versus Goliath group, I think that Ozzy's probably the next one in that group. And I think Emily's actually probably fifth in that group, especially because she was left out of knowing this whole thing. Christian and Devens, they think they're so smart, and she figured out that whole thing of like, oh, they left me out of the loop on this. So I was surprised to see kind of where she fell with all the numbers and all of this.
Yeah, she was really irritating me last night. I was really having a hard time watching it, because I'm like, I felt like she was tight with Christian and Devens. They were trying to find the right time to tell her about everything. But then she panicked being told on the mat, right? And didn't wait to hear like what the whole story was, or just kind of hold that information in her back pocket. And then when she gets on her new tribe, she's here and she's there and she's given everybody every information that I'm like, girl, it was making my head spin.
Yeah, it was weird. There was a lot of just like spewing information everywhere this week. I mean, we saw it a little bit with Rizo, with Charlie. Yes. Charlie was weary of him. And then with on that other tribe, Genevieve found out that Aubry did in fact have, that was Stephenie found out that Aubry had the idol, right? Who found out? Someone found that out.
Q.
I don't even remember. See, this is why I get so confused with these tribe swaps. Yeah, it was Q.
Oh, well, when they told Q that when Emily told Q that Aubry had the idol, that was when he was like, oh yeah, we knew she had it. But I don't think she had it at the time they thought she had it, unless editing, how that could go.
I think they edited it to make it look like she didn't have it yet. And I think that they all suspected it, and Aubry was smart not to keep it in her bag.
You just never know with editing. But yeah, she was just all over the place, and that was really driving me crazy. But you know what? She was correct about Stephenie and Q, that they weren't really genuinely accepting her. That's the editing part of it anyway, right? And she picked up on that, like, I'm just a number. And she was really looking for a genuine connection. And that was shown that she did have that with Angelina, but then she jumped from Angelina to Ozzy and was like really happy Ozzy was there, and I was just like, I was annoyed.
Emily flipping you out.
Oh my goodness, girl. But I was worried.
I
When Mike comes over and he's like, Stephenie, I'm voting you. I was like, oh, dear God. Here we go.
Yeah, so overall, I thought this was the weakest of the 3 episodes that we've seen so
Oh,
far.
yeah,
And
definitely. Yes.
a couple things on
like
that.
I said last week,
Go ahead.
it's kind of like in a game when you have your letdown game, right? And we thought that was going to
Yes.
happen. I did with episode 2, but they brought it. Episode 2 was great. This one kind of was one of those letdowns. It just wasn't as exciting. The only thing that was exciting and kept me on my toes was the 2 people I'm really pulling for,
Uh-huh.
are in a tough situation. So that's why it was a little exciting for me. And I know for you too, Jack. Otherwise, I would have been like, and the rapping. Okay, Jeff, I didn't like the tribe swap rap. I'm
Let's
sorry. How did you feel about that?
The thing that I'll say is I think that it shows that Jeff Probst has come a long way from where he started, where there was a little bit here that he's not taking himself too seriously, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cringe. It was cringe.
I do. Jeff is awesome. Okay. He is one of a kind. He's absolutely incredible and so much fun. And it is neat to see people try something, step outside your comfort zone, go for it. But I was like, I could have just dealt with the tribe swap.
How many times do you think he practiced that? How long was he practicing that? It was clean. I mean, to his credit, he didn't stumble
He's been
over his
practicing
words.
that probably since they decided to have a season 50 with the iconic returning players. What did he say? It's been in the works for like 5 years or whatever. I think so is the rap.
Well, and to his credit, I'm willing to bet. I bet he did that all in one take. This is from what I've heard. Jeff Probst is not one to be like, "Oh shoot, let's refilm that."
He's
messed
not.
up a line.
No.
And I've heard that other hosts that does happen with. I won't say
Oh
who,
no, I don't
but
think.
have heard
Yeah,
about
he
that.
ever. Well, one retake was at our tribal council in Guatemala. So, and that's the only one I was ever a part of. Maybe here and there's a bit, but no, he goes with it, and he's just on. I mean, there's nobody better than Jeff Probst. There just isn't.
Yeah.
And for him to do all that in one take is impressive. But I'm sure he stepped up to the mic very well prepared.
What happened at that tribal council?
He wasn't like Eminem stepping up and just like, you just have the floor and you just start rapping off the cuff like that. That wasn't happening there. Okay.
But no, the tribal council on Guatemala where they retaped something. What happened?
So it wasn't a mess up that Jeff had. So the only retake I know where he stopped and wanted to retake was he got frustrated. He asked me a question and I gave him a very like pageant answer because I didn't want, certain things to be said or shown. And he got frustrated with me and he's like, all right, Boatwright, I'm going to ask this again. And this time I want an answer that's not like a picnic in Kansas in September. All right. So we're going to start again. And he asked me the same question and I gave him the exact same answer again. So
Do you know how long it took for us to get to like being after? Like, here's the thing. I think part of the problem with an episode like last night's is I like the idea of 90-minute episodes when you show us a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But it felt like we were seeing a lot of the same stuff, just longer. And one example of like really dragging on was the start of the episode. So there have been in earlier seasons of Survivor, a lot of times it's just like, drop your buffs, we're switching tribes.
Yep.
Boom, here are the new tribes, and then they go back to camp. But do you know where we were at time-wise when we cut to the commercial after we found out the new tribes? It was 16 and a half minutes. We'd spent 16 and a half minutes getting up to that point. Then we probably had a 5-minute commercial break. So nothing really started until 21 minutes in. And now
that makes it feel dragging.
And then this next part is basically we're resetting from where we were 2 weeks ago, where it's like, hey, I'm Mike and I'm Christian and oh, it's good to see you again. So I think that was a big reason why it dragged on.
Yeah. Well, who do you think was the biggest winner and loser of the tribe swap?
Biggest winner, I would say, I thought that so I have the tribes written out. So let me just read these tribes so that way everyone can kind of remember who's with who. The Vatu tribe, which, by the way, I got to say real quick, I'm really, really glad though.
Yeah,
Stephenie
you get
ended
to
up
keep
on.
it buff.
I get to keep my buff. I don't have to trade it in. I don't have to order another one. We'll see. Maybe I will have to order another one in a few weeks.
Which that is the first thing I said when I saw Stephenie hold up that pink buff. I was like, well, Jack can keep his buff.
I didn't have to drop my buff, so I'm thankful for that. And by the way, also, Stephenie sent us these awesome shirts. Danni has one as well.
So I wore mine yesterday on my podcast that I do with Stephenie and Rachel Riley and my friend Aggie. I wore mine. I was going to wear it today, but I'm heading to my son's baseball game today for DeSoto Wildcats. It's the first scrimmage of the baseball season. So as soon as I'm done here, heading there. So I had to represent the son. So, but yes, we got the shirts now. We got the hat. We're like official Stephenie fan club, like president and vice president.
Well, that's what we said. I mean, we said on our first one of these recaps is like, hey, Stephenie fans, you're all welcome here. This is a safe space.
Actually, everybody's welcome to our fan club. It's just know what it is.
Yeah, but we are backing Stephenie, and this was not a great week for our girl. But
so sorry, go back to the tribes. Let everybody know who's on what tribe.
So on her tribe, it's Stephenie, Q, Mike, White, Christian, Angelina, Ozzy, and Emily. So we got the three. Really, it's just Stephenie and Angelina and Q from the original Vatu, and then Mike White comes in as like the only person and from his original tribe, but his like besties are here. So I'd say Mike White is an initial winner because I think this set him up really well.
No, my biggest winner, I'll tell you after you talk about who's on all the tribes.
Yeah,
I've got
you got any thoughts on that tribe real quick before we go to the next one?
As far as like that tribe goes, I mean, they all lucked out that they have the David versus Goliath like trio there. That's a big core group in that alliance. So that was huge for them. Angelina was sitting at the bottom and now she's kind of sitting at the top.
Yeah.
And she's not really any threat. So it's funny how that can all turn on a dime, right? When you have the tribe swap. So she's a pretty big winner because she was about ready to go. The only thing was her saving grace on the last tribe is they probably weren't going to lose an immunity. So
right. Yeah. So then the Kalo tribe, Coach, Colby, Joe, Genevieve, Chrissy, and Aubry. That's the 7. That's my favorite group of the tribes. Like I wish Steph could have landed over there because I'm obviously a huge Coach fan. I'm a huge Colby fan. The Coach Colby reunion after what had transpired 16 years ago. That was great. That was some of the best part of the episode. I mean, really, Coach has not missed. Colby hasn't missed. Whenever we get stuff from them, it's been really good.
Well, and on that tribe, Joe and Chrissy, I can't really decide who is the bigger winner there. Maybe Joe, because I was a little worried for his well-being on the other tribe, and now he's golden. I mean, he is with it, but going into the season, if you're Joe, you're like, I need to be with the two of them, and likewise for them. So I'm like, that matched up really well for them.
Yeah, this was great for Joe, and
it was great for Chrissy. It's great for Chrissy to have that moment with Coach too, where Coach was being a coach and trying to tell her, hey, you want to be a better player, this is what you have to do. Now she was a little emotional about that and understand, but I'm like, he just helped you out immensely.
Well, and this was a full circle moment for Coach because when he was on Heroes versus Villains, he was driving people crazy, and Tyson pulled him aside, and Tyson said, Coach, you got to stop telling all these crazy stories.
Yeah.
Got to stop exaggerating. And they sort of cried with each other. And now Coach, 16 years later, is paying it forward, and he's giving the same advice to somebody else. So that's something I like about these returning player seasons when you see stories continued.
Yes. And I had no idea what Chrissy had gone through. Wow. What an example she is for an inspiration for women who have been through, breast cancer or have the gene for it. Like, she was talking about it. Just, wow, that was a fantastic moment. And, I think she's a big winner to be on that tribe for sure.
Big winner.
She sits well with both sides, the women and those guys. So she has her pick. It was cool to
see her edits start to turn in a different fashion because last week it was kind of like she's annoying and bossy.
Yes.
and now it's like this is heroic. She's inspirational. And also, like, you know, my mom had breast cancer a few years ago. She had to have 3 surgeries for it, and praise God, she's healthy now. So I'm sure that my mom was probably encouraged hearing that.
Yeah, we have no idea what those women go through.
Yeah. That tribe I like a lot. And also, going back to Joe, so I did not see his season, but everything I'm hearing about the guy is this guy is honor, loyalty. And so I liked seeing that moment with Coach where he's just like, hey, I wouldn't be back out here if it weren't for you.
Well, that's a lie. He'd be out there, but whatever. It was nice to say to him. We all know he was going no matter what. Okay.
Well, Coach changed his mind, is what he said. He initially said no, and he called him back in the last couple of weeks, and then he went. And so, according to Coach, he's saying that, you know, he was inspired to see that there are still loyal soldiers that are going to play this game with honor. So it made him feel like he could do it again. So that's what Coach said. It maybe is it true? Is it not true?
I'm not buying it, but whatever. Sounded nice on the episode.
So Joe's a winner in that tribe. Chrissy's a winner in that tribe. I don't really. Is anyone a loser?
Oh yeah, Genevieve.
I mean, Genevieve. You don't think she fits in here?
I think she's having this great new social game, but Aubry's onto her, and Aubry and Tiff are tight. And I told you, I think I told you this last week, maybe I really like Tiff, and she's not really getting much of an edit, but she's so strong physically. She's also incredibly smart. And I'm excited to see how she's going to work the dynamics with this tribe, because I feel like she's going to do something.
She said something that was interesting, and I wrote it down when we spent the 17 minutes getting our new tribes. She said something along the lines of, like, there were a lot of people that I wanted to play the game with on day one, and now I get to play the game with them. So I thought that translator was like, I had some pregame alliances, and now I get to work in those pregame alliances.
Yep. Good point. Yeah, no, I think she's. It's gonna be interesting and it's gonna be interesting to see where Chrissy lands. You know, are the girls gonna try to get together and take out the guys, or are the guys and Chrissy gonna be the ones to maneuver on, you know, Genevieve and Tiff and Aubry? So
I think
it's gonna be an interesting dynamic to watch.
I think this is the start of a good partnership with Coach, and I think she's going to get along well with. I mean, they do have some older guys in this tribe with Coach and Colby, closer to her in age. So I kind of envision her fitting in with that group. But to your point, she does have options now, which she didn't look like she had last week.
Yep.
The last tribe is Cila, the orange tribe. So Cirie and Devens, Rizo, Charlie, Kamilla, D, and Jonathan. That's the final of the 3 new tribes. Winners and losers on that tribe, Danny.
I think that the loser of that tribe is Rizo. And that's because he dug his own grave there. I'm like, oh, Rizo, you're such a fan. You know what happened. You knew what happened to Charlie. And yet here you are saying you did the same thing that happened to him. How do you not know that? I was like, oh, and you're such a student of the game. Oh, Rizo. Because I thought that would be a fun duo, the two of them. And now I'm like, oh no, Charlie's like, nope. But Charlie, just like Joe, you really have to let that go, the past season that you played on. You have to let that go and have a fresh start with different players. But they're holding on to what happened to them in the previous seasons. And, you know, I think it hurts them more than it helps them. I think Charlie should work with Rizo, but then just keep that little information in his back pocket, you know? Winner, I don't know. Maybe Cirie. But I feel like Cirie's the same in each situation.
It's kind of stagnant.
But so D and Jonathan have that conversation about, oh, I really like Cirie. I'm like, yep, that's the thing. That's the Cirie spell, the Cirie magic. But yet they're smart enough to know, no. We have to get rid of her right away. And so we see them having that conversation. Is that going to happen? I don't know, because I feel like the rest of the crew, she has her spell on and she's very tight with Devens. Rizo is obviously like, oh, Cirie, and I met you before. At Cirie's confessionals, I don't know if anybody is better at confessionals than Cirie. She's hilarious. And she's talking about like all these people are like people you didn't invite over for dinner and they just show up at your house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so funny.
She's so charming. She's just so good.
She is.
So what you're saying about Rizo, like, do you get like annoying little brother vibes from Rizo? Like he's just like the little brother who drives everyone crazy.
So Rizo kind of reminds me of Rome a little bit. And during Rome season, when I was covering for CBS here in Kansas City, covering Survivor, I'd mentioned how Rome was kind of like a little brother where you love him, but sometimes he's really annoying and you just want to tell him to shut up. And I feel like that's 100% Rizo. I think Rizo would be a lot of fun to have around, but when you can also like drop him off, at school or, at home and you can go with your friends.
Yeah, I had heard mad hype on the game he played in 49. But so far what I'm seeing on 50, it doesn't seem like he's really picking up on social cues very well.
Yeah, no, he missed it. Rizo missed that social cue last night for sure. And then Charlie's face when he's laying there and he goes, I was like, oh, wow. And then Cirie talking about, okay, I have so-and-so and such and Riz God. Okay.
I can't handle that name. There's only one God, Rizo. I'm sorry. Yes. I can't do that one. But Danny, Charlie's your guy, right? Like you picked him. You were a Charlie fan, right?
Yeah. Well, I really enjoy Charlie and I thought that, he might be able to win this season. He was my preseason winner pick. We shall see. But he's fun. That's why next time they have a tribe swap, we should have him sing a like Taylor Swift buff song, He should be able to just pop that out being such a Swiftie.
So like he just takes a Taylor Swift song like Long Live and then switches out the lyrics.
I think Bad Blood would be a good one to switch out.
Bad Blood would be a good one. Yeah.
To a buff song. Come on, Charlie.
There are a lot of good Taylor Swift songs that could work for buff songs. How extensive is your Taylor Swift catalog?
What'd you say?
How deep is your own Taylor Swift catalog?
Yeah, not deep. But then again, remember I told you when you were asking me to name a Billie Eilish song, and I can't. But I was like, in all fairness, it's only George Strait that the catalog is long for me. That's it.
I like Taylor up to 1989. I think that was her last album. I like all the albums up to that point, but I never past that. There have been some songs that I've liked. My sister's a big Swiftie, so I hear a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a fan of the Speak Now. Or no, wait, what album is that?
I couldn't even tell you. Okay. I know her song, some of her country songs, but. Yeah, and then if you named them, I'd be like, oh yeah, of course I've heard that. I get why people like her.
This album it's Speak Now. I really like that album. That's a good one.
Look at you Swiftie, you. I'm
trying to like meet Charlie at his level, so come on the podcast.
I just adore Charlie. I loved him on a season. He's a lot of fun, very smart player. But we're gonna have to let the Maria Charlie relationship, final tribal council incident go.
I mean, I imagine there was more to it than that.
Make you wiser, but you can't hold that grudge against somebody else.
Danny, I didn't see the season, but it looks like a sore subject. I imagine there was more that happened than what we saw on TV.
Yeah, I could tell you.
And so to kind of be poking at that's just like poking at a beehive. I don't know what you're doing, Rizo.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Not why, especially if you're a fan of Charlie, Charlie, how, you don't even mention that. And like, as those words were coming out of his mouth, I wonder if Rizo was like, oh, I wish I could put those back in. Or if he didn't realize it until much later.
Are Charlie and Rizo sort of cut from the same cloth in terms of being like students of the game, being very strategy oriented.
I mean, yes, but I think the two of them are so different. I feel like Charlie was just a little more wiser and more mature, especially his season. He was, yeah. But honestly, I didn't watch 49, so I didn't see Rizo in action. So this is my first look. I remember hearing about him throughout the game, but I didn't get a chance to watch the season. I need to go back and watch. So I don't really know because I haven't seen enough of Rizo yet.
It seems to me, and I could be wrong. Please comment. Tell me I'm wrong. It seems like they're both kind of cut from that same sort of cloth where they, are very strategic. And I don't really know if you can have, like, they're relatively close in age.
Yeah.
I don't really know if people like that can always gel together because they're both scheming a little bit. So,
yeah.
It's better to maybe team up with someone who's a little older, a little wiser.
Oh, well, I mean, Charlie likes to, Charlie and Chrissy would normally be a good match. Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that. You need variety.
Yeah. I feel like an Adam Klein and Charlie and Rizo, they're all kind of that same kind of player. I just haven't seen enough of Rizo to know.
This Vatu tribe is now they lose, and we did get, it's really interesting because we spent so much time with Vatu, but we really didn't get much Stephenie. So that was obviously another critique I had of the episode where she could have gone home. Like we were worried about her, and we didn't really see too much of her. We saw so much Q that I thought Q was going to be the one going home because they typically don't not show the person who's getting voted out that much in the episode. They typically highlight them a little more. But we did get when they lost to Tribal, we got the nice moment where Stephenie reflected on her time in Palau and all the tribal councils that she's gone to. And now we just hope that that's not what's going to happen here. But hey, maybe this is where Stephenie needs to be. This is where she thrives as the underdog.
Even in Guatemala, she started out the gate having to go to tribal council.
Yeah.
There was a lot. She had a lot there. So the poor thing, she should feel pretty at home and comfortable at tribal council. Oh, it's so funny. I text her and I said, you may have been nervous going into that tribal council and nervous at tribal council, but you looked amazing. I'm like, you don't even look like you've been sleeping in the sand. Yeah. She looked so good.
And she looks calm
that immunity
too.
challenge,
she doesn't look stressed.
That immunity challenge is just... it was frustrating because I don't like those. I remember doing that in Guatemala, and I remember I got hit in the head several times by a pole, and I was like, ow, I hate those things. And then on 99 to beat, we had that blind band challenge where you're running around trying to find, and it's so unnerving for me. That was totally made for Kamilla. Like that was a challenge for her, and she killed it, and that was great. And we all know, I feel like Steph's really in challenges very well-rounded, but she really dominates when it's anything physical, especially against any of the other women. I loved her comment she made when she's like, when it comes to strength, you have Stephenie and Angelina. So I was like, that's right, sister.
Yeah,
don't get rid of Steph. Get rid of the weaker link, but whatever.
I don't think they value it. I don't think that's what they're thinking.
No, they don't care. They clearly don't care. You got rid of Q. Yeah.
Thought from my sister, by the way, I wanted to ask you about this. My sister always is sending me these hot takes. Laura Vita, we're going to have Laura make a guest appearance at some point during this season. She said they can so obviously see through their buffs in this challenge. LOL.
What was it she said? I couldn't hear. They were hitting the wall.
She thinks that these blindfold challenges that they can see through the buffs. So can you put that to rest?
Oh, I couldn't see anything. I would have got myself hit in the head many times if I could see. And then the one I played with the 99 to beat, couldn't see a thing. And I think they come up and they check it out to make sure you can't. Now, if somebody's touching and they don't catch it and they kind of move something, I mean, I don't know. That could be possible. But it was interesting. Was it Angelina that said, Christian, stop guiding us. We're okay. And I was like, oh, does she mean maybe she can see a little bit of the ground or whatever? So I found that was kind of interesting. But I know the times that I've had to do that, I couldn't see a dang thing.
You didn't do it on Winners at War, right? It was just Guatemala?
No, just Guatemala and 99 to beat. And to be clear, I didn't really get to do much on Winners at War. So, but yeah,
Yes.
no.
Well, but I mean, hey, maybe this is like, if you're saying, if they're checking to see if you can see, if they said, hey, Jack, can you see anything? I would be like, no, I can't see anything.
No, I think they act like they're going to punch you in the face, though. And if you flinch, they're like, oh, clearly you can see.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the key, is to be good. But yeah, to your point, like, if you have this thing over your eyes, like, I'd be curious, is there something underneath the buff that they put, like a blindfold, like sleeping mask or something like that? Or is it just the buff?
I don't remember what they did in Guatemala. I feel like it was, they tied something over our eyes. I feel like I have to go back and watch. I just remember not seeing anything, and I didn't like that. And then 99 to beat, we had like a mask on our eye. In fact, that thing was so tight on my head, I had a dent for like a week. I was like, dang.
Hate that. Hate a bad dent on your forehead. That's the worst. No,
well, the problem is when you get to be older, not old yet, older, your skin, everything doesn't bounce back quite like it does when you're younger. So I had that dent in my head. And in fact, Tommy from Big Brother, who was on 99 to beat with me, he's like, Danny, what's the matter with your forehead? I'm like, oh, yeah, well, this is what's the matter. It was that mask. And he's like, well, that was 2 days ago. And I'm like, yeah, still there. And then it was still there another couple of days. So annoying.
Well, the thing is, if it's just the buff, and to what you're saying, like, you move around, you get out of sight a little bit. You can maybe do this a little bit, and maybe there is a way that you can see. I'd be curious. I'd be really curious to know.
But I will tell you, they have eyes on you, because one challenge when I was trying to come back from the edge of extinction, something had dropped. I mean, they were on it. They're like, Danny. But so, I mean, they have certain people watching certain people out there, right? Like, they have eyes that are on you to make sure that you're not doing something like that. And let me tell you, I don't even know how much of an advantage that would be. And the only way you're really going to be able to see would be down. So if somebody's walking around with their head like up, then they're looking out, they can see. And I didn't see any of that. And even with what you had to do, it's not going to be that much of an advantage, because you're still not going to see clearly. So yeah, I think it's a non-factor.
They probably can't see.
And how frustrating to have to put a puzzle together blindfolded. Dear goodness. No, thank you. I can't do them when I can see. Having to do a puzzle without being able to see. Oh, nope. Hard pass.
It's pretty dangerous challenge. Like, that's a challenge where you wonder if they're like, hey, so we're going to start with 24 people. We have to accelerate this game, which, by the way, if we're counting the first week as 2 episodes, because it was 2 90-minute blocks, essentially, we've only had one person go per episode. And I mean, is this show going to go to like mid-June? Are we just going to, we have to like lose people.
How many episodes? So I wonder how many episodes? 10?
I don't know. I think the finale is going to be like around Memorial Day. So I imagine it's probably 12 episodes, 3 months. But I mean, like, they're going to have to accelerate this in some way. So the way you do is let's have dangerous challenges so people get hurt and then they leave the show.
Take them out. Get more people med-backed out. I just hope that when they bring in Mr. Beast, that they're not doing like, take this and you can be out of the game, like offer money and they're out. Like, I don't think Jeff would allow that. But I hope that's just not the case. So
that could happen. That's a good theory. And we got Zach Brown showing up next week.
Yeah, that's
you like
fun.
Zach Brown band?
I do know Zach Brown, so yeah.
A little bit of chicken fried?
A little bit of chicken fried. Cold beer on a Friday night. Yep. See, I'm better than Jeff. Let me out there. I'll sing you a Zach Brown rap. Love Zach Brown. But here's what's interesting. Watching the promo, and I'm like, something happens with Steph because they highlighted her in the promo and she looks surprised. So I'm like, oh, girl, what is it? Like, we know you're in trouble on your tribe. Did you get some big advantage or clue? Or did you, he says you have to earn the reward and you see people swimming. I'm like, ain't no one going to outswim my girl. Not even Jonathan. Okay. So I can't wait.
And in true Stephenie fashion, it's a promo for next week, and it looks like she's dropping an expletive. Like, that's just...
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait. You know what? I have never been so excited to watch Survivor because, like, when you actually have somebody like you really are rooting for, it is so much fun. It's like watching my team in sports, right? I get really excited every week because it's like I have an invested interest, right?
Well, let's talk about what happened here in this final segment with Vatu. So Mike White was just being very clear and saying, like, I'm going to vote you out, Stephenie. And that was like very direct. It shows how comfortable he felt. The other pieces of this that were interesting was then Q had this sort of idea of like, hey, I could try to, say that I have an extra vote, and then maybe that will make them try to split the vote in some regard. He was trying to stir up some madness, and I think that actually backfired on him because I think it made him.
That's Q. That's what he does.
Yes. Q. So it was like, I think that's the right move if you are in this position where you've got the numbers and you don't care about challenges. You get Q out because Stephenie's gonna stir up like chaos around camp. She's gonna be a good soldier that you have, and you're gonna win some challenges, and maybe she can. I mean, obviously we're biased, but she's someone who's very trustworthy and plays a loyal game. So you should eventually look at that as that could be an asset to you. But that it seemed like they really thought that Ozzy was with them because
that Ozzy was what with them.
With them, yeah.
That's what I'm gathering, and that's also why I don't think it was smart for Q to try to act like he had an extra vote because Ozzy knew he did not have a vote.
Right.
So I'm sure he was letting everybody know that. We just didn't really
seem. Yeah, it really seemed like they were thinking that Ozzy was 100% locked in with them.
Yes.
And I don't know. I mean, to me, I just wouldn't have ever I would be very wary of Ozzy, and I get it. There are limited options here, and you would think like, okay, he's strong. We're all strong. Let's try to keep this tribe strong. And there are only so many people that you can talk to and work with. But Ozzy showed his cards here that he totally blindsided them. So now Stephenie knows she can't trust Ozzy at all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have thought I could at the beginning anyway.
Yeah, right. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was surprised with Emily too. Again, you would think that they'd go back and watch everybody's seasons. And even if you felt like you were just a number right now with Q and all them, it's been one day. So people trying to figure out things. But if you have done your research, you would know, again, like we've said before, Stephenie's loyal to her alliances, that maybe I would try to nurture that relationship. But it seemed like Emily wasn't really even interested. Again, a lot gets edited out, so maybe, but I don't even think she tried.
This is what we come back to.
Stephenie was probably too busy getting firewood and tending to camp and taking care of things so everybody can go out and have their conversations.
Right. The thing is, I think this comes back to what we were talking about at the start of this episode, is one of the reasons why I don't really like doing these tribe swaps on returning players' seasons is a lot. The pregame alliances weigh heavily, and it looked like that group of people, three of them obviously very connected with each other.
Yeah.
And then we've got this whole Ozzy connection with Mike White, and he's already connected with Christian. They voted together on, Cila already. And then Emily was also a part of that group, and it seemed to me like Emily had something cooking coming in with Devens and Christian. You can see it in all of the pregame press of like, oh, I like this person. I like this person. I'm weary of this person. So props to Mike Bloom for digging and all that up and uncovering that.
Yeah. And I mean, you nailed it. It's all those pregame alliances. That's what we deal with returning seasons. We know we're going to get it. That we know that's what it is. And you just have to take it for what it's worth, right? You just enjoy watching certain players and you have the person that you're rooting for, because I've definitely saw it on my tribe, right? In Winners at War, I was like, oh, holy smokes. Like, these people are in each other's weddings. They're like the godmother of one another's kids. Like, it's crazy. So that's really hard to crack. But in the end, I would think, you're better off coming in with a clean slate anyway, because you don't know what swap or what things are going to happen. And so it's just kind of that aspect's just really frustrating for me to watch. So
level of worry for
and
Stephenie
predictable.
next
Like
week.
the three of the David and Goliaths come in there and the people that they know each other. So clearly you guys are all super tight. So this is what's going to happen, which is probably what made the episode seem like it was a little bit boring.
Yes. Level of fear that you have for Stephenie moving forward. Out of 1 to 10.
Oh, I'm terrified for her on this tribe. And especially after getting Q out. Like I said, I don't know how good they're going to be, what immunity challenge is going to be thrown at them and how they're going to be able to handle that. But I feel like she's next unless she can get somebody to flip. I think she could work with Christian, but I don't think she can work with Emily or Angelina. Angelina said pregame in interviews that you saw, she considers Stephenie a foe. So that's not good for Stephenie on this tribe, still having to deal with her. When she first had Angelina on at the beginning, I was like, okay, but she has Colby, she has Q, she's going to be all right. And then now I'm like, dang, she still has her and doesn't have the numbers. Well, I'm fearful. What about you?
I would probably say like, I'm actually pretty cool. I would say 6.5. I'm not going too high on this because here's the thing. These are the situations where I think Stephenie thrives on Survivor, when her back's up against the wall. And I think that I'm actually kind of excited going into next week because now that she's kind of in this same underdog role that she was in on Palau, I'm sure we're going to get a lot more screen time from her moving forward. And I think that I think the move here is, if I was Stephenie, what I would probably try to do is you just have to play the game day to day, hope that you're going to win a couple challenges maybe. You're going to have another tribe swap probably pretty soon. You'll probably get another chance to be with some other people. But I think yes?
Well, here's the thing though, Jack. I'm very concerned for her because Stephenie's strengths are she's loyal. Stephenie's strengths are that she's very physical. But we've never really seen how good of a strategist she is. And with this group, she's going to have to be a strategist to how is she going to break these alliances? How is she going to work this group? How is she going to get somebody to turn? Yeah, she may be able to do it. That's why I said I feel like she is very well-rounded, but she's never really shown that side. And now this is her moment to do so.
I disagree with you. I mean, she outlasted her entire Oolong tribe. I think that's basically winning a mini season of Survivor. How she navigated. She was backed into a corner when there were 3 men from Alabama on her tribe, and she's from Philly. What does she have in common with Bobby John?
Yep.
And
but when she merged with that group that had all the numbers against her, we didn't really see her have time to strategize. And then in Guatemala, it was kind of Rafe calling the shots, and we didn't really see a strategic side from her there. And then she didn't have a chance at Heroes versus Villains. And then I don't know I didn't see Snake in the Grass. And of course, Traders is completely different. Yeah, I think she can, but my threat level for her is an 8, because I feel like if this was the merge and she had the chance at individual immunity, absolutely. And if people really understood her loyalty, but I don't think they do. So that concerns me. And so I'm just ready for her to have a breakout moment to show I can strategize too, because we've never have seen any master strategy gameplay before. And like I said,
no, I don't agree with that.
I think it's there. I think it's there, and it's going to have to come out.
I think we've seen it before. I think we saw it on Oolong with how she wiggled her way to be the last person on that tribe when she was the only woman left with 4 people left, and all the other 3 guys were from Alabama, and she lied to Bobby John, and she had to do damage control there. And I mean, there were pieces on Guatemala too. I mean, I know that Rafe was, I know you were there, and Rafe was pulling a lot of strings, but Stephenie did some things on that season as well. So I don't necessarily agree with you. Oh, no,
she can strategize, but she hasn't shown master strategy. Like that has been when you look down every person on Survivor, if you were to put a picture of them up and strengths and weaknesses, Stephenie is definitely on the strongest. Stephenie's definitely loyal. And not that she can't or that she's weak in that area. We just haven't seen her have to strategize like this. Palau was a whole different gameplay back then in old school. This is obviously new school. And and with the twists and the turns that she get, and something happens next week. I don't know. I just see it in the previews where I'm like, she's got something. And so that's why I feel like I'm ready for her to show she can, because that hasn't been seen, and she's going to have to. And like you said, though, when her back's against the wall, she comes through. Her back's against the wall, and now she's going to have to show, watch out, I can do this. And I think that is one of the, not the missing links for her. Maybe you could say that with her seasons of being a master strategist. But I feel like that's one of the things I said before the game ever started, where I think maturity is really going to help her in this season. And I think that's what we're going to see happen now. So my threat level for her is an 8 because her back is against the wall. Okay. But she's not going to go down without a fight. I don't know of anybody more competitive than her. So I cannot wait for this next episode to see how she saves her ass, because she's going to have to. So I can't wait. I'm just nervous because I'm like, I got to wait a whole freaking week, man.
Well, and I would argue lastly that I would say that the way that she wiggled her way to the top of Oolong is more impressive in the old school than the new school, because she didn't have any kind of advantage or anything to help her. It was all strategic.
But back in old school days, they valued hard work. They valued somebody being strong. And she was both of those things. So they needed to keep her around. And that's the way old school looked at it. They don't look at that now. They don't care. Just like we saw last night, they got rid of Q, who was the strongest person physically on the tribe.
I don't think that that's lacking strategy. That's playing to how the game, So anyway, we can probably have this conversation for another half hour.
Well, we'll get to see after this week and just moving forward. And this is, it's a new survivor. Stephenie hasn't played in so many years. And this is the area where it's going to be fun to see. Like I said, the maturity, I think, works so well for her, and life experience and all the other shows she's been on now too. So you think she gets something here? There is still an idol that has not been found on the Teal tribe, Kalo, and she's got some friends over there, Colby. Yes. Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. Oh my goodness, Colby, they could totally get that idol and send it to her.
Genevieve is over there. I believe she knew Coach a little bit coming in.
Yeah.
So if that group, and Genevieve found an idol already. So Genevieve, maybe she finds the idol and sends it to Stephenie, and then we'll see what happens.
Or even if it's somebody else and they happen to share that with Genevieve or one of the other people, they might be like, hey, that's who we need to send it to. And then we can work with her. Oh gosh, I didn't even think about that. I cannot wait. I am so excited. And like I said, this is like watching my Kansas Jayhawks play basketball. Like, I can't wait for each week for Stephenie. And my mom, it was so funny this morning. Unfortunately, my mom's got the flu. But she, was right on it. And she's like, I was frustrated with Survivor last night. And she was like, I'm glad Stephenie didn't go home, because that's her number one too. But Q, oh man, she likes him too.
It was a bummer to lose Q. He's been so entertaining. I hadn't seen him before, but he was so entertaining. He was so funny. He's so fun. He just seems like a great dude.
Yes, he is. And I like I said, I really enjoyed him on his season. And then I got to meet him when he was here in Kansas City for Wendell's party. And awesome. He was fun. He's a lot of fun.
Do you have anything else, or should we get to the listener comments? Was there anything
get the
else
listener comments, yeah.
Listener comments, okay. So we've got here, these were last week's comments. These are more so just comments about last week's episodes, so they're not super relevant to what is happening today, but we did ask people what they thought about Devens and Christian, and we actually got some split feelings, which is kind of what I was expecting. I think you kind of love them or hate them. They're big personalities. So we got from Eeg0415 commented, actually left us 2 comments. So I'm going to go through those first. Just not that into Devens and Christian. I'm more into Cirie and Ozzy. Rooting for the old school players. Love both your commentaries. Thank you very much. That's nice.
Yes, thank you.
He also, he or she, we don't know, male or female, Coach needs electrolytes for his cramping. The only thing that helps me.
Coach needs to drink some more coconuts. Natural electrolytes right there. Coconut water.
Oh yeah, I was
gonna
say, how do you get the electrolytes on Survivor?
Yeah, coconut water is the best thing you can have. Water. That's what I make my smoothies. That's what I make my smoothies with. It's fantastic, and you have it right there.
Mas Rida 00 said, Joe is made to look like the villain when Boston Rob basically does the exact same thing. Agree or disagree with that? You played with Rob. That's a reference to last week, how he confronted Devens. He thought that
was very Boston Rob-esque. Yeah, I just can't compare the two, and that's all I'm going to say. Joe's no Boston Rob. No, I think with Joe, it was just a little, PTSD from what he went through his previous season, and that was it. I think he's going to actually be able to recover and do fine, especially with the tribe he's on.
Was there anything that triggered PTSD for you when you were on Winners at War that brought you back to Guatemala?
Just the hunger. That's all it did for me. I was like, oh gosh, I forgot how miserable that was.
Mike NADJ, lots of letters. I'm not going to read the whole thing there, but we know who you are, Mike NADJ. We see you. Christian and Devens are amazing. I hope they continue to dominate the screen time for as long as they are there. And then we got a comment from Heather Kupfer, who Heather is a friend. You got to meet Heather at some point, Danny. She's I've known her actually, I think since Winners at War. She's a big Survivor fan, actually from Arizona. Tough boss chick. She does all kinds of wellness stuff. So, and she's a fan of yours as well. So she commented saying, love watching Christian and Devens. They're playing Survivor with so much joy and fun and are so entertaining to watch, even when Devens and Joe go at it. And hiding a fake idol at Tribal Council, iconic. Also loved Christian rocking Joe back and forth in the hammock, acting like his therapist. I'm dead.
So funny. Well, I feel like with Rick and Devens, even if you're not a fan, like just watching them is hilarious. Their banter back and forth. And then the nerd herd, like who doesn't love a really funny nerd? I mean, they're great. I hate that they're split up now. It's not nearly as funny.
I don't mind it.
I know you don't. Absolutely love them. And I think that Cirie's confessionals are fantastic, but the Cirie Ozzy dynamic, I'm like, I don't see anything really that special about that. Unless you're just a fan of the two from old school and whatever. But Cirie's confessionals are funny. Yes. But Christian and Devens, the two of them, their chemistry, that is just perfect. They need to host a show together. They're so funny.
No updates on Ozzy's poll this week.
No, he didn't have to use his poll this week.
Had to get that in there. All right. So what do you have coming up this week, Danny?
So I am headed to baseball season is officially today in full swing for both my boys. And Bo has a showcase, or not a showcase, what do you call it? Scrimmage tonight. So heading out to do that this weekend. But I don't know if I mentioned last week because I'm not sure it had happened yet, but my youngest son, for those of you who don't know, the very first football game of the season this year, he had a really bad leg injury and had to get a metal plate put in. He wasn't even walking for like over a month. And he loves baseball as well. We weren't sure if he was going to be ready in time for baseball to try out. And he was cleared right before tryouts, but he hadn't done any training over the whole winter. So we weren't sure if he'd be able to make the team or not. He was prepared for if he hadn't. He understood, but he made the team. So yay, Stone. So it'll be fun watching his freshman baseball season.
And he was on with us last week too. He made a nice little guest appearance.
He fell asleep during the episode, remember? And he just woke up in time to see Christian fall. And all he cared about was like Stephenie was safe. So
yeah, I think he'd just woken up from his nap when he like hopped on the podcast with us, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, he does 0 hour in the morning. So he already has football training. Then he has school. Then he has baseball. And then for him to sit down and watch something, he's obviously going to be, a little tired and falling asleep. But it's funny because week to week, both my boys, they love Survivor. But if they can't quite get it all, they're just like, I just want to know, is Stephenie okay? So
I think that's what everybody wants to know, and they ask that more often than when she's on Survivor. Is Stephenie okay?
Yes. Yeah. The big winner, though, last night was Stephenie's hair at Tribal Council. Okay. She just looked good. I was like, you really are not sleeping in the sand. You really aren't. There had to be like a hair and makeup artist out there. She looks so good at Tribal Council.
She looks really good, and she looks calm. Like she's holding herself together well.
Yeah, she really looked calm last night. That's why I was like, but she was surprised it was Q. So it wasn't like she was feeling at ease. But again, maybe it's because of all those Tribal Councils at Palau. It got her conditioned for it.
She's used to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys can check out this week. I'm doing more with the LA Times. We're winding down. We got about 10 days left of spring training. And then actually, when my Dodgers assignment ends on the 21st, I'm actually going to pick up some stuff for MLB.com. So I'm going to cover a spring training game for MLB.com. And then I also have 2 stories that I'm working on for the Baltimore Sun as well. So lots of good baseball stuff. And with the LA Times, I'm going to do the NL West and AL West division previews for the newspaper. So,
and then in any free time, you're either hiking or going to church. So
yes, exactly. Yep. Nice hike yesterday.
Oh,
very good time.
Big shout out to my poor mom that has the flu right now. She turns 82 tomorrow, Jack. March 13th.
She doesn't seem 82. She seems at least 10 years younger than that.
She is fantastic, and I have the best mom in the world, and she may be small, but she is mighty, and she is the reason I have such killer instincts. It's from her. So thank you, Mother, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Vicky. You'll have to have Stone made the little cameo last week. Maybe Vicky can pop in for a couple minutes next week.
Oh, yeah. She has very strong thoughts about things. So
I know she does.
Oh, and you know what?
Right.
Everyone's like, what are you going to take Vicky to do for her birthday? Jack, it is March 13th in our household. What are we doing during March 13th?
We're watching college basketball.
Absolutely. Yes. Let's just hope KU can win tonight so they'll be playing on my mom's birthday.
So my roommate reminded me, Danny, do you remember the game? It was 17 years ago today. The UConn Syracuse Big East tournament game that went to 6 overtimes.
Yes.
That was 17 years ago today.
Wow. Oh, I remember that. That was, wow. Yes, that was crazy. We're like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
And then there was a point where like guys were fouling out and they had this walk-on come into the game and start doing jumping jacks in the middle of the, like when he's getting ready to play defense because he wasn't warmed up at all.
Yeah. Yep. Man, you gotta love the madness.
Love it.
Awesome.
It's the best time of year, and I have next Thursday off. You obviously know what next Thursday is.
Yep.
So we'll probably bang out a podcast, and then I'm gonna find myself at a sports bar with my buddies, just watching games for hours.
Me too.
It's like Christmas morning.
Yep. It's like Christmas, and it's spring break, so like we'll get to watch. A lot of times it's fun to go to somewhere like Top Golf or here in Kansas City, Chicken and Pickle, where you can like play all sorts of games, and then you have an appetizer, you go play some games, and you come back and then you eat like your food, and then you play some other fun games. Then you come back and have dessert, and you're watching because there's TVs everywhere. Oh, there's nothing better. It's the best.
People ask me what my favorite event on the sports calendar is. It's the first weekend of March Madness.
Yep.
I love
the first
that
2 days because there's so many games. The first 2 days
are the greatest 2 days in sports of the whole year.
Yeah. But you know what? Being a fan of a blue blood school, right? That's won multiple national championships. They're in the tournament every single year. It's great fun. But the frustrating thing is there's always like that upset, right? When we're a number 2, 3, 4 seed. Okay. And we get beat by like the 12, the 13, the 14. It always happens every year. Somebody does. And you're like, everybody gets excited. I don't, because we're usually the one on the other end of it. But I still like to watch all the other teams.
Well, you know what? I just realized that a week from now, we'll be taping this podcast and March Madness will have already started. So like, we'll have to share some thoughts, and I'll have to set up a bracket pool for the listeners that want to
yes.
compete with us. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll have to talk about our brackets when we come on next week for sure.
Yes. So guys, look for my social media. I'll put it on all my social media channels so you can join. I'm at Jack Vita Show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Danni, she's Danni Boatwright on all those same social media platforms. You can check out her podcast, Beyond the Edit, with Danni and Aggie. And we've got plenty more coming up soon.
Wait,
so yes,
Danni, Aggie, Rachel, and Stephenie. Now we have Beyond the Edit, the chat too. So
yes. Well, the name of it though, where they can find it, is Beyond the Edit.
Yeah, Beyond the Edit. But I'm saying under that umbrella, we have the chat, which is the four of us ladies, and that's just kicked off, and so much fun. It's very random.
We like random. So until next time, guys, we'll be back again next week. Give us your comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And until next week, I'm Jack Vita alongside Danni Boatwright. We'll see you next week. Bring in the dancing lobsters.